Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I know I have tons of new content and new meditations that I've posted for various different topics. I haven't really done a speaking video in a while, so I just want to come on and talk about a few things and why I have put out the different variations of meditations I put out. And there are going to be more, okay? It really does come down to application. And I can sit here each day and tell you that you have to identify differently. You want to regulate your nervous system. You want to be able to show up and respond to life differently and decide what occurs, what happens in your life. But for me to be able to do that, I had to really go through the process of adopting new beliefs, because our automatic thoughts, our automatic behaviors, our automatic awarenesses are coming from our belief system. So it's not like we're just waking up each day and it's a lottery. Who am I going to be today? What am I going to think about? How am I going to react to life? It really is a continuity in your personality and identity that cultivates the dominant state that you exist in, the awarenesses you hold, the thoughts you find yourself naturally entertaining, and how you're going about life, responding to life, perceiving life, and creating your life, right? So with that context, if it's an instant manifestation, then as you begin to adopt new beliefs, you're going to begin to show up in new ways, form new awarenesses, behave differently, attract new experiences in, respond to those experiences differently, and create new sets of circumstances for yourself, which comes down to application. I'm not the type of person to just continue to put out the same types of videos all the time, because again, the teaching in itself, when it comes to mindset, is not going to change. But I do want to reiterate one thing, which is when people are talking about law of assumption, I think there is a really key differentiation that needs to be made and awareness brought to the word assumption. So when people are thinking about the word assumption, they're thinking about it from the stance of persisting in a statement, an assumption, an awareness I'm holding in my mind that has no factual proof to it. And I'm going to persist in this statement without physical representation of its truth for me to bring that experience or assumption or statement into my experience. And while that is a part of mindset, you have to decide what's going to occur in your life. And yes, you use your imagination to create your reality. And it's very logical to me. We live in our brain. We're experiencing our reality through the lens of our own perception, which is our imagination. We're very quickly processing the things that are going on around us and generating images, ideas, concepts in our mind, and projecting those images, ideas, and concepts out into our physical experience based off the way we are imagining it or perceiving it in our mind. And you have the power and the ability to create whatever you want in your life. And a part of that is imaginative. You have to imagine and visualize the things you want to create. You're going to experience them first in your mind, which is going to allow for you to then experience them as your physical experience. So I don't think that the word, persisting in these assumptions is a bad thing. I want to say that, but I want to give it a different perspective here on the word assumption. So assumption can have multiple meanings, right? So when we think of words, especially in the English language, a word can have multiple meanings, right? So aside from the meaning assumption in terms of thoughts, the other meaning is to assume, to occupy, to take on. And when you look at teachings by Neville Goddard, he says to persist in a assumption until it hardens in as fact. You want to become somebody that can normalize the desired experiences. And once that feeling becomes normalized, you will create that as your experience, right? And that's kind of more feeling, feeling is the secret. The thing I want to point towards, though, is when you also take into context his focus on self-concept, I am, what you are assuming is a version of yourself. And you're normalizing the feelings, awarenesses, and results that naturally materialize as a byproduct of whoever you assume yourself to be. So I have said on my channel, you want to take the time to address your self-concept before you really go in the direction of persisting in results, because by the time you're persisting in something, you shouldn't be battling tons of intrusive thoughts or contradicting behaviors or feel like you're lying to yourself or feel like it is delusional. And the reason why I've said that is because when you think about how the brain is organized, if our beliefs are creating our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, then by the time I genuinely assume a version of myself that holds a belief system that is congruent with the results I want to create in my life, so if that's a relationship, I'm somebody that receives relationships. I'm somebody that is able to create a healthy, loving relationship. I'm somebody that normally receives commitment. I'm secure in a relationship. And I also believe that men easily commit to me. Men find me desirable. Men love spending time with me. Then from that belief system, if my beliefs are creating my thoughts, feelings, behaviors, my awarenesses, I'm not going to be sitting here wondering whether or not a man is going to commit to me. Those general beliefs and ways of identifying are going to cause me to show up with certain thoughts, behaviors, and awarenesses that are in general alignment to that belief system, regardless of these specific people, places, or things. So when you go about creating a change in your life, in my honest opinion, the only thing you're really persisting in is assuming a version of yourself. And if you're actually in that version of yourself, it's going to be a normalized experience for you to create those results. You're going to be able to very easily entertain them in your mind. You're not going to find yourself forming negative attachments, getting obsessed with people, spiraling out, getting triggered very easily. You're going to know that you have plenty of options. You're not going to wait for anything. You're going to be grounded in who you are and how different areas of your life show up, which is what allows for you to create those specific results with specific people. So let's talk about this in the other direction, okay? If a lot of people say you're not learning to manifest, you've always been manifesting, which I agree. So before you knew about manifesting content, you held particular beliefs that formed particular awarenesses, particular insecurities, or you felt secure in different areas of your life. You naturally showed up in particular ways. You formed natural behaviors, and you naturally created those experiences. If they were negative and that naturally unfolded, then You've already done this process, which is you are in a belief system. You are assuming a version of yourself that normalized whatever those experiences were. So no matter what environment you were in, no matter who the person is that you got in relationships with, no matter the coworkers, whatever it may be, doesn't matter the external, you would still form the same thoughts, feelings, behaviors, awarenesses, and create whatever you believe to be true for yourself in different areas of your life. And that was a natural thing to do, especially if there are undesirable patterns in your life, right? So instead of trying to change everybody and everything outside of you, it would be very wise to realize, okay, well, if I have the power, no matter where I go, no matter who I surround myself with, I experience similar things and I form similar insecurities, doubts, or fears, and I see that comes in as my experience, then when I change and how I am identified, then I'm going to begin to show up in new ways naturally. I'm going to form new thoughts naturally, new awarenesses naturally. I'm going to behave differently. I'm going to respond differently. And I'm going to normalize creating new results as a consistent experience for myself in the same way I've done it if I've done it in an undesirable manner. So when you look to apply things with law of assumption, I want to make it very clear that there's a reason why Neville Goddard said, there's nobody to change but self. It's going to be a very unpleasant process to micromanage every aspect of your life by trying to affirm for things you can't believe, because the version of yourself that you're assuming, the belief system you currently hold, is in contradiction to that result. You're going to be triggered all the time. You're going to feel like you're delusional. You're going to feel like you're crazy. You can create specific results in your life. I don't advocate, I don't particularly love the advice of be delusional. It's not delusional to me to believe in your ability to create what you want. It's not delusional to me to be able to create a relationship. It's not delusional to me to be able to create your dream body or your dream career or to increase money in your life. It's not delusional to believe in yourself, and it's actually very necessary. Again, from a cognitive standpoint, your beliefs are creating your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. So you could persist in something that you don't believe in and bring that in as your experience. But in terms of sustaining it, you're going to get exhausted with having to constantly micromanage every single thought you're having because you're constantly getting triggered, because everything around you is serving as evidence for why you can't sustain this experience because it's not a normalized thing for you. If you want to go down that route, go ahead. I don't suggest it. I think when you're looking at stuff by Neville Goddard, you have to really understand that he is talking about assuming living in the wish fulfilled is living in a version of you. You are somebody that receives commitment. You are somebody that receives respect. You are somebody that can create wealth in your life. You are somebody that can live in your dream body. And if that is a normalized experience for you, you're not going to be chasing it. You're going to be able to hold awarenesses. You're going to show up thinking, feeling, behaving in ways that create that result and attract it in. And you're going to be able to sustain it, right? But in terms of really understanding his teaching, the wish fulfilled is literally just a version of you. Once it becomes normal for you in how you're identified, in your I am, you're going to naturally create that as your experience. Just like whatever your belief system has been up to this point, you've naturally created that as your experience. Can people change? Yes. Can you turn situations around in your life? Yes. Can you create specific results? Yes. But it has nothing to do with anybody outside of you. If you believe men don't commit to you, men aren't going to commit to you. If you believe women don't commit to you, women aren't going to commit to you. If you don't believe you receive love or that you're able to create a relationship, you're not going to be able to create a relationship. If you don't believe that you can turn situations around and create solutions, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be desperate AF. You're going to be chasing after people. You're going to be constantly triggered and trying to change the people around you because you're operating through insecurity, doubt, fear, and lack of belief, which in and of itself isn't going to be attractive on a physical level. And you also deserve to live in a body where you're not constantly barraged by intrusive thoughts and constantly triggered and assuming the worst and doubting yourself. So when you're looking at the word assumption, yes, you need to decide what's going to occur in your life. Yes, you can create something that isn't here right now. Yes, you're experiencing your reality through your imagination, but it's really, who do you assume yourself to be? Who am I? I am is an identity statement. So if I am this person and you try to give me something that I don't identify with, it's not, one, it's not going to trigger me. Two, I'm not going to see this as a evidential confirming experience as to what I'm going to continue to create in my life experience. Three, I'm going to be able to handle this in a regulated manner. And four, I'm going to be able to create solutions because I'm not going to see this as an actual problem that I have to handle. I'm also not going to get negatively attached or chase or try to force somebody or something outside of me to change because I'm already self-recognized. I'm already self-actualized. I already know who I am and how this area of my life shows up. So if you, for instance, in a relationship, if you try to not commit to me and I'm in an identity that is, I am somebody that receives commitment, I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to wait for you. I'm not going to get triggered by it. Okay, bye. I know I'm somebody that receives commitment. And it's that way of operating that creates solutions because you're not chasing anything. You already know who you are. And that's how other people are going to be able to recognize you. Until you recognize yourself and you define who you are and how things show up in your life, you're going to just allow people to do whatever they want. You're going to form negative attachments. You're going to chase. You're going to spiral out. You're going to create really undesirable and unhealthy dynamics. The only person you should be obsessed with is yourself in a healthy way. You know, I'm not saying to not care about people, but the whole premise of the teaching is be the change. So address your insecurities. Address the things that you don't identify with that you want to create in your life. You need to see yourself as somebody that can create a healthy relationship if that's what you want. If you want to fix a relationship, you need to see yourself as somebody that can fix a relationship you're difficult to move on from in love, and you're able to trust in your ability to create solutions that people can change. And it's going to be because you change. Here's the thing too, okay? When you actually change in how you're identified, again, your beliefs are creating your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. So when you attract in, for instance, a person that you have history with and you've changed, it's going to be very evident that you've changed. You're going to be responding differently. You're going to be behaving differently. And so a byproduct of that is this person is going to change in accordance to the change you've made within yourself. They're going to respond to you differently because it's going to be evident that you've changed. But you're going to perceive it as though they have changed. It's not them changing, it's you changing. And this goes for anything. You want to increase your work relationships, you're going to need to change. You want to increase your financial success, you need to change how you identify and the relationship you hold with money in your mind. You want to increase the level of love, compassion, communication in a relationship, you're going to need to change in those aspects. And then people around you are going to see the change you've made within yourself, and they're going to begin to respond to you differently. Which again, you're going to think, oh, wow, they're changing. No, it's you that changed. Persisting in specific results is going to be very easy when you're in a belief system that is, again, conducive to that result. It's going to be really difficult to know that a guy, for instance, a guy is going to text you if you don't believe that healthy, consistent communication is a normal experience for you. And you really honestly shouldn't have to sit here and affirm a million times, he's texting me, he's texting me, he's texting me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. It's normal for a guy to text you and love you. It's normal for a guy to pursue you and want you. If you know that, if you believe that, and if you really believe that, you're not going to be waiting for a fucking text message. Okay? Which is also attractive, again, on a physical level, when you think about the evolution of dynamics. So I just want to bring an awareness to understanding that there are two meanings to the word assumption. And in my opinion, Neville Goddard was talking about who you assume yourself to be, which is why a lot of his teachings are I am. Yes, you can create specific results, but it's by normalizing and becoming somebody that identifies with that result. And the result is a natural byproduct of who you're being. So focus on yourself, okay? This change doesn't have to take long. It's not like an endless healing journey. It's just about identifying what you struggle with and addressing it, especially in relationships. This is why I put out like healing father wounds, healing mother wounds recently, because a lot of the beliefs and ways that you identify in relationships come from the example that your parents set. So for instance, if you didn't have a very present father, then it's going to be very difficult for you to normalize the presence of a man, trust a man, see yourself as worthy of commitment from a man because you never experienced that growing up. So then when you go out dating and trying to talk to guys, you're instantly triggered. You're waiting for text messages. You're wondering if they're going to show up. Instead of it being like, oh yeah, he's going to totally make time for me. I don't need to worry about that. It's a normal experience for a guy to be totally into me and commit to me. You want to focus on becoming somebody that can normalize the experience you want to create, which means you're going to focus on yourself and adjust yourself. It has nothing to do with trying to change the people outside of you. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to say that on that note, I'm going to be putting out tons of more new meditations for different topics as well too. Thank you all for being here. I love you all so much. I've been posting tons of success stories. The membership side of my channel is popping off. Okay, we have a whole little Discord group and it's really fun. And I have private member meditations. I'm going live 3 times a week for at least like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to cover various topics and do Q&As. So if you guys are there, hi, I love you. I appreciate you. If you want to join, you can just join on my channel. Do you have to join? Nope, because I put everything on the main side of my channel and I'm posting all the tools for you to use to go through this change as well. Okay, so live your best life. Don't accept bullshit. Believe in your ability to create what you want and don't wait for it. Embody and be somebody that normalizes that experience and feel sexy and limitless and like they don't have to settle for anything in their life. Okay. All right. Bye.